2007, it was in Foz de Iguazu, and then in 2018 here on the great Olympic venue 2016. So this magnificent venue being used again for this Canoe Slalom World Championships, and we've got the top 30 boats from the heats. They were 2 days ago. Now the athletes very focused on qualifying through into the World Championship final. 10 boats, that's the only 10 boats will progress into the final. So myself, Andy Maddock, will talk you through all the information, and alongside me here in the commentary box I've got Jake Cochran of the Irish team. So himself competing in this event, unfortunately didn't progress through into the semi-final here, but thank you for joining me and look forward to your insight through the course of this semi-final.
No problem, glad to be here. Second best spot I think other than racing, but yeah, it should be a good semi-final to watch, and yeah, looking forward to some good racing.
So we've just seen the start list there, and as we said, reverse order of the heats, and it's Michal Martikan of Slovakia will be going off last, so he produced an outstanding performance in the heats, and well, are we going to be treated to some of that legendary Martikan magic over the course of this weekend?
I reckon the semi-final course is looking to be his sort of course that he's going to go for, and I think touch wood, we will see him in the final today, but yeah, should be interesting.
Well, we're underway with competition, and first up for the Czech Republic, it is Thomas Rack. Now, he's an established competitor on the circuit, and on his day he can be very fast. It'll be interesting to see what sort of time he can put down. So we've got a 24-gate course, 6 upstream gates, gate 3, gate 6, double upstream 15, 16, and then upstream 20 and 23. And our course designers, Mark Delaney and Marianne Aguilon. Now, you've seen the course, Jake.
I have, yeah.
What are your thoughts? Where are the big challenges here?
We're just seeing Thomas Rack coming up to the biggest challenge. I think there's a big stagger in the middle, 8-gate stagger, and certainly a few options. Seeing the first one to spin there for himself. I think it's going to require a bit of thinking for some of the athletes, but we should see a few different things going on there. Maybe make or break moves for making it through to the final.
Yes, and clearly the course designers are going to work these athletes hard down this semi-final, and penalties are going to be key. We saw in the heats the athletes were really quite tight in terms of times, so no real margins to accommodate any touches.
Yeah, I think second runs yesterday, or on 2 days ago, was especially tight with only about 2.5 seconds to make it through in the top 10 there. So certainly some good athletes in this top 10 that made it through in second runs, and I think we're seeing a good first run here already by Thomas, so might set a bit of a benchmark for the rest of the field.
So this is a critical move now, this bottom move, just when the lactic acid's building in the arms. You just have to be patient. Spots it really well. It's obviously on his onside. So
yeah, he's done it very well. Nice tight exit there as well. I think this is going to be a good run to start with. Big sprint to the finish here.
Well, importantly, he is clean. That's vitally important as he comes down and sets that time, 102.84. I think it will be a slower time than we saw in the heats. I think there's a little bit more in the course. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I reckon a bit slower, maybe 5 or 6 seconds off the top time, but I think Thomas will be hard to say going past the finish line, seeing his time. He doesn't have anything to go off, but I'd say he'll be fairly happy with that run.
Well, here we see, and just a reminder of the rules, if you're new to the sport of canoe slalom, it's all about negotiating the 24-gate course in number order in the fastest possible time. And you've got to negotiate the gates, and if you take a touch on any part of the pole, then it's a 2-second penalty added to time, and then a 50-second penalty if you incorrectly negotiate a gate. But now we've got the home crowd will be very much giving their support, because we have the sole representative from Brazil in this World Championship semi-final, and it's Felipe Borges. So he was 25th at the World Championships in 2017 in Pau in France, and be looking to improve on that. Looking solid on the first part.
Looking pretty good. I think he's got a bit of an advantage here. I think they've had a fair amount of time training. We'll see how that pays out, but he was up in the first split, so I think he's in a good position here if he can keep it clean on the bottom half of the course.
Well, he's good through this double upstream 15-16. Now this is where he's got to keep his concentration. He's got to keep working in harmony with the white water. And, well, he's down on Thomas Rack, but we know Thomas Rack can be quite a competitive paddler. And I think this bottom section is a lot of time in that.
If he can get this last 2 downstreams into the upstream, nice. I think he... commentator's curse there. Lost a bit of time in that stopper, but he should still be okay if he can get in tight to this upstream.
So we talk about onside or offside here. So he's a right-handed paddler, and that really helps him on the move from 22 to 23. But again, importantly for him, Felipe Bourget goes into with a clean run into second place, 106.97 seconds, and well, the crowd will be eagerly anticipating whether that's enough to make it through to the final. As next up from Australia, it's Ian Borrows.
Another athlete here with experience on this course. He was at the 2016 Olympic Games here, so I'm sure he's feeling in a bit better position than some other people who haven't raced here before, but yeah, it should be interesting to see how he gets on here.
Yeah, he was 11th at those Rio Games, and it's interesting. I would describe this course as quite a neutral venue. You know, so if we go to say Prague or Po or whatever, you'd say that the home team have quite a big advantage. But here is quite neutral. Would you agree with me?
I'd agree with you there. Especially it's similar to other sites, similar to Lee Valley as well. But I'd say it's quite neutral because not that many people have actually had the chance to race and train on it. It's kind of just been this year that people have had that chance to come over and get a bit of training done. So I'd say there's not too much advantage, but maybe just a wee bit there.
Well, we'll have to wait and see here. Ian Borrows in this tricky 8 downstream gates on the trot, and he goes through there cleanly into the upstream 15, rides the wave across. Oh! Well, that's the danger. You've got to take that line across the face of the wave, haven't you? You've got to give a bit of upstream edge to get the right line, but there's what happens when you don't get it right.
I think if you get it right, though, and you can get on the back of it, you have a lot of speed in, so I think it's risk versus reward of how much you're going to take in that stopper. Unfortunately, Ian just getting the worst side of that edge there.
Well, Ian's showing his experience, though, because he's absolutely focused still on delivering his run, and although he's had a roll, he's obviously lost a lot of time, and I think there'll be too much time to make it through into the final.
He seems to be sticking to his run plan here, and things not going well, but he hopefully finish off it well.
So here we see the first of our left-handed paddlers in this semi-final, and just having to negotiate it on his crossbow, and yeah, he's going to be outside of the time, so it is still Thomas Rack of the Czech Republic, the early leader, with that time 102.84, and so far all 3 boats are clean. No, that surprises me actually. I thought there'd be a few more penalties in that middle section. I'd
agree with you there, yeah, definitely. I think people might be taking it a wee bit cautiously around there. Might see some other people taking it a bit more aggressively there that might feel like they have to make a bit of time up to make that final. But yeah, clean so far, and touch wood, we'll might see another clean run here from Raffi.
Well, let's see, because it's Raffaello Ivaldi of Italy, and he was a silver medalist at the Under-23 World Championships this year, and he's already showing his class here. So 1.79 is found on the top, but maybe he's just cancelled that out on that downstream gate 11.
Very physical paddler, though. We should see we can hold on till the very end, and I think he should be able to make up that time.
Well, he's ducking and diving. He's certainly attacking this course, and remember, there's 30 boats in this semi-final, only 10 places in the final. The final will get underway tomorrow morning in Brazilian time. I'll give you the times. In fact, it's 9 o'clock Brazilian time tomorrow, and it's 2 o'clock in Central European time.
Raffi down in the split there by 2 seconds, but we can see he's had a very quick raw time there. He's had 2 touches, which isn't helping him, but the actual run itself has been pretty fast.
Yes, well, it gives us an indication there's still a lot of time to be had. It's about going fast and clean, get a combination right, and there's a place in the World Championship final up for grabs. So Ivaldi of Italy finishes his run, 106.24, and so enough to go into the lead, but those 2 touches proving costly indeed.
Yeah.
So you can see the disappointment there. And here we see just the gates tightening up, just a little bit late arriving in 11, and I guess that's the consequences. Decision making. That's what slalom's all about, as we watch next up. Now, here's a paddler who could well set a pace that everyone else has to chase, and that is Casey Eichfeldt of the United States of America.
Yeah, he's made a couple of finals this year, I believe. And again, another competitor that was here in 2016. Very powerful paddler. I reckon he can put down a good time here. Nice first 5-6 skates there, so he's off on a good start.
Yeah, it looks like he's really got a good run of the boat on those top few gates. How important is it to get the first few gates well, really get the feel of the run and build into the run?
Yeah, just getting the first sort of 5 or 6 gates right, you just kind of ease yourself into the run, and it puts you in a good place going down the course. So I feel like he'll be fairly happy so far, but just concentrating each gate at a time, and he's done that 8-gate stagger there very well too. So
I think he will extend that advantage. He had 0.82 on the top bit, and I suspect when he comes into the next split time, we will see that he has extended his advantage. He's certainly looking like he's attacking the course, but he's not taking too many risks. I think Ivaldi was taking too many risks, but hey, 0.21, he's lost a
bit of time. Surprising that he seemed to be pretty good through that last section. But we'll see what he can do in this last bit of the course. Again, as you said, he's a righty, so he's going to have that downstream blade here to get into that upstream.
He's dropped low into the upstream. That is going to be expensive. That'll be a couple of seconds added onto his time, and
I don't think we'll be seeing a new race leader here.
Yeah, he's going to be outside. Thomas Rack is going to hold on to that time unless he can really hold it in here. No, outside of that time, into second place for Casey Eichfeldt, and well, that mistake at the bottom, expensive.
Yeah, expensive, but clean run again, so I think put himself in a good position, but might just be on the outside of that for the final. We see Rafi's been given a 50 there as well. Don't know where that was. I'm not sure if you saw that, but unfortunate for him.
So next up on the course for Canada, it's Cameron Smedley. So again, another athlete raced at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. He finished 15th in that event. He's based in Ottawa in Canada on that very big natural whitewater river. So perhaps not so familiar with these artificial courses that are more often than not the main venues these days.
Yeah, we're seeing that more and more often, usually an artificial course, but people seem to make it work training on natural courses still. And Cameron, very good paddler, had a good run in the second round to get into the semi-finals. So
just chasing slightly into 13 there, and you can see just the judge signalling a penalty. So Cameron, he was in touch at the early split. Now this double upstream gate, can he get in tight? Well, that's perfectly done.
I think, like we thought as well, there it's going to be very crucial to stay clean through that big stagger in the middle. That cost might have cost him a bit of bother with it, but we'll see how he gets on this bottom drop.
So now 5 seconds adrift of our race leader still, Thomas Rack of the Czech Republic, leading the way. Set the clean run. Casey Eichfeldt of the USA in second. Felipe Borges of Brazil in third place at the moment, but we are in the early stages, and of course the athletes racing in reverse order of their heats performance. So can he make a bit more time at the bottom? Cameron now launching to the finish. It's a long finish sprint here.
Yeah, it's probably about a good 20 or 30, well, maybe 20 meters there, but it certainly takes the arms off you and come towards the end of the course. Some people have it in it, some people might lose a bit of time there, but certainly take your breath away that.
It reminds me of the sprint at La Seu d'Urgell at the end of the course, where it just seems to go on forever.
Yeah, you don't know when it's finishing, but yeah, another Olympic athlete here just missed out on the medal in 2016. He came fourth at the games here. So yeah, should be in for a good run here from him.
So it's the Czech Republic against the Czech Republic, and Vítězslav Gebaš now on course, and like you say, he looks like he's really got the boat in the groove. Now this is the critical section. He's got 8 downstream gates on the trot, and our course designers Mark Delaney and Marianne Aguilon are really working these athletes hard, certainly not only in their technical skills, but quick thinking so important in the sport of canoe slalom.
Yeah, definitely. There's a place there in the middle where something might go wrong, and being able to change your plan quickly is going to be crucial there. I feel like not everyone's going to be able to stick their plan here. He's lost the run of the boat a bit coming into this upstream, but he seems to have salvaged what he could there. And yeah, well, very nice across the stopper there too. So
well, we saw he had a slight advantage over the current race leader by 0.12 as he came into this section. Now, as he leaves the section, wow, he's dropped 3 seconds. So it shows that Thomas Rack was really strong in that middle section.
Yeah, I think Thomas Rack's time might hold for quite a while, I think. We're kind of coming into the big paddlers coming up, so we'll see what everyone can do, but that's a good starting time from that.
Yeah, you talk about big paddlers to come. Well, we've got 5 world champions
here
on this start line. Unfortunately, one of them hasn't progressed through into the semi-final. That's Fabien Lefebvre, the 2014 world champion. It went out in the heats. So Gibash of the Czech Republic into third.
Made a bit of time in the bottom there. So.
Yeah, so still Thomas Rack leading the way. And of course, the other champions here, we've got David Florence, 2-time world champion, Benjamin Savcek, the reigning world champion, and Michael Martican, 4-time world champion, and of course Denis Gargaud-Canoe, not only the world champion from 2011 but the Olympic champion on this course. So next up it's Daniel Watkins of Australia.
I believe this is Daniel's first C1 semi-final at World Championships, so I think he'll be going out there with something to prove. Very good paddler, very aggressive paddler, and actually one of the few C1 men that will actually switch consistently, which we'll probably see him do here in this middle section.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see whether we get to see any of that switching amongst some of our top boats because of the difficulty of this sequence.
Yeah.
Because like David Florence is known every now and then to switch.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see whether people do. Now, Daniel was actually up on the split early on, but he's picked up 2 just cheap touches in that middle section. And that's really going to give him a disadvantage to qualify through into his first World Championship final. Now, he's no stranger to under-23 World Championship finals. I think he's been in for the last 2 years.
I think he has, yeah.
6th this year, I think 9th in 2017.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's certainly one of the top under-23 athletes and is coming through on that senior field. So, shame about those 2 touches. I think they're going to cost him a bit.
Well, I don't think I'm not sure he was planning. I think he was planning to switch there, but he clearly wasn't anticipating the boat to catch the stopper quite as much as it did, and that's put him right off balance. But good recovery there. As Daniel Watkins comes in to the finish line, but it is still going to be Thomas Rack holding firm at the top of the leaderboard at the moment. But we still have 22 boats to go in this semi-final. So here we see Daniel in the middle section. Just, well, that's interesting. His first touch was actually the water, but then followed it up with his body. So now here's a name to watch because Franz Anton on course now, wearing bib number 9 for Germany, is very much not only an established competitor, but he's really seems to have come into form in those last 2 World Cups of the season. Yeah,
on the podium in both those World Cups. Just seems to be paddling very well at the minute, and things are working for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the final. Good top 6 gates as well. It's settling into the run nicely.
And of course he's familiar with this course because he was in C2 in Rio. So he was 4th in C2 in the Rio Olympic Games with Jan Benzine. And so he will have a lot of experience on this whitewater course.
Yeah, very nice through the middle section as well there. I think we might be seeing a new race leader in the time here, but he's keeping things together and he got a nice run across this stopper. Very good.
Oh, he is looking very smooth. He's really got his eyes in focus now. 24 gates are the challenge for him on this semi-final into the final. And it's interesting he's dropped because he looks so fluid, but he can still find some time on this bottom section. So 0.66 he's trailing Thomas Rack of the Czech Republic. And I'm sure a lot of the competitors still to come in this semi-final will be watching Franz on the course to see what they can learn before they do their run. Yeah,
definitely. I think you'll see people sort of watching the first few paddlers come off to see what's working and what's not. And I think we're seeing a new race leader here. Very good time.
So you can see just how the time trades there. So Franz Anton of Germany goes into the race lead ahead of Thomas Rack of the Czech Republic. Casey Eichfeldt of the United States is 3rd at the moment. And next up for Switzerland, it's Thomas Kirchlin. Now Thomas is Well, he's certainly no stranger to World Cup finals. I think he had a disappointing World Championships last year, finished 33rd in Pau in France. And, well, this is his opportunity to bring his World Championship career right back on track.
Yeah, he's had a good second half of the season. I think he was a bit off the pace the first half of the season, but no, he's paddling very well, and through training here as well, he's been looking very on it. So, be interesting to see what he can do here. Up in the split by a good bit actually, and that's on the new fast time by Franz. So, picked up a touch there.
Yeah, you can see the judges signalling that touch, confirmed on the screen. So he's going to have to recompose. It's not over now, but there's another penalty. That's the risk, isn't it? So when you're walking the course and you look at that, the athletes have to decide the line they take into some of these upstreams, because it is high risk sometimes if the bows bounce up under the poles.
Exactly. It looked like he just got a bit caught between coming above and coming beneath the upstream on that one, and just when you're in the middle of those two, your boy can come up and can take that touch on the gates. But yeah, 2 touches I think will be a bit costly for this for making the final. He's rescued that well, to be fair.
Yeah. Now you could just see the obstacles on the bottom of the course. Now the course is running a slightly lower amount of water than it was for the Olympic Games. How much has that affected the way that people will paddle on this course?
I think it just makes the features a bit more defined and can really hold you a bit more, and it's a bit shallower. So as we saw there with Thomas getting his paddle caught there, we've seen that a few times with racing or with training, and people breaking their paddles in a few places. So yeah, it can make the course a wee bit trickier, I think, with less water.
So disappointment there for Thomas Kirkland of Switzerland, and we're now down to 20 boats to go in the World Championship semi-final in the C1 men. Of course, only 10 boats are available for the top 10 in this semi-final run. That will take place tomorrow morning Brazilian time. And here's another fast boat from France. It is Cédric Joly. He is the European champion at under 23 level of 2018, but already a mistake there.
Yeah, I think we've actually haven't seen many mistakes in that first upstream, first up left in the course. It's actually a very tricky up left to get into, and we've seen just Cedric taking a bit of a hit in the nose there and causing him to lose the speed in the boat. Going to cost him a bit of time, that, but he's done this middle section quite nicely, so he may have got a touch there. It's all fallen away from him a bit.
Yeah, it looks like it's quite difficult, isn't it? Talk us through, if you make a mistake early on in the run, what are the challenges? You know, what's going through your mind when you there's all sorts of emotions and decision making.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the time when you make a mistake early on, you kind of push your plan a bit and kind of go off your plan and try and make up time elsewhere, and as soon as you start to do that, it can get away from you, and sometimes it works trying to make up the time where you haven't planned to, but as we've seen here, it's sometimes a bit costly to change your plan.
I tell you what, he's showing his class though, isn't he? That bottom section, in and out of the upstream 23. Well, yes, it's going to be a difficulty to qualify to the final with those 4 penalties, but Cédric Joly, a name to watch for the future. So into 6th place, so it is still Franz Anton leading for Germany, 100.73, and Thomas Rack of the Czech Republic, who was first off, he's lying in 2nd. Casey Eichfeldt in 3rd for the United States of America, but still we have 19 boats to go, and they're the fastest 19 from the heats. Speaking of heat, actually, then it's the conditions here in Rio much cooler, much nicer for racing. It's been really oppressive, really hot in the heat days. And how did you find that?
Yeah, it was hard to deal with. Everyone trying to find your places with aircon and stuff in the building here. But I think this is a bit better day for racing for the athletes. Maybe not for the spectators, but I think the athletes are pretty happy with how it's turned out today.
So on course, Igor Stuber of Poland already picked up 2 touches. A touch on gate 2 and gate 8. And, well, looks like he knows it to some extent that this run is slipping away from him. And it's interesting, it's not a skill that you learn over time, really. How do you cope with that in terms of that concentration? You take an early penalty, you see some people just deal with it.
Yeah, some people
some don't.
Yeah, some people are just able to put it behind them and continue on with their run, but I know I've struggled in the past with taking an early touch and then thinking I have to make that up. I think the best thing to do is just stick with your plan and hope everything else goes okay. But it's a hard one to deal with on the course.
Yeah, easier said than done, as to say.
Yeah.
You can see Igor takes the direct line from 20 to 21, but pays the price there on 22.
It's going to be a very hard to get back up for that. Yeah, unfortunate there with the 50.
So just paddling out his run now. A 50-second penalty there confirmed for missing gate 22. And unfortunately, Igor Stuba of Poland will not be progressing through into the 2018 C1 Men World Championship final. Yeah, he knows it there.
One of those days, just gets away from you a bit.
So next up, it is Lucas Rohan of the Czech Republic. So the third of the Czech boats coming down this course, and another boat that, well, is one of those top under-23 boats on the circuit at the moment, and one that, if he could keep it clean, you would expect him to be in and around that final zone.
Yeah, we've seen him in quite a few finals this year, so I think if he's on track for it, he'll be putting down a very good run here. Up in the split there, so if he can keep this middle section clean, I think that's where it's cost a lot of people so far. So, just about made it in there.
Well, great recovery there.
Yeah,
certainly not the plan A there, but he's kept it clean, he's kept it moving, and you know, 1.5 seconds he had the advantage, but now a 2-second penalty on 15, a little bit low on 16. He's going to have to get it back in the groove on this bottom section.
Yeah, I think that's going to cost him a bit. He might be able to make that up still on the bottom, but it's going to be a tight one to get into that final from here, I think.
So we've still got some big names to come in this C1 Men's World Championships semi-final, and there's no return from that, or not without a big paddle back up the eddy. And unfortunately, Lucas Rohan of the Czech Republic looks like he will not be going through into the final. How important is it, the pacing, when you come, you know, so I think this is actually one of those courses, there's almost 3 sections to it.
Yeah.
And each athlete has to decide how they approach each of those sections in terms of pacing. Yeah,
I think there's a few places where you can kind of open up and put a bit more into your sprints in between the technical sections, but as you'll see, some paddlers just look like they cruise it down, and it turns out to be really fast. So I think it's interesting to see the different types of ways people are paddling this course. Here's someone I think that'll not hold back on going for it, but very technical at the same time.
Yeah, on course, Matej Benus of Slovakia, of course, the Olympic silver medalist on this course in Rio 2016. And yeah, so no stranger to the course, and he's always in the mix. He's always got the fast times. Doesn't always keep it clean, but this is his opportunity. And wow, he takes it on forwards.
Nice, yeah.
That is how to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the best we've seen that section so far. We could be looking at a new leader if we can hold this bottom together okay, and nice upstream in 15 too. So
yeah, very effortless style his paddling. He really runs the boat well.
Yeah, a bit stuck into 16 there, but I think it won't have cost him too much time. We should be up in the split here.
So the job today is to make it through into the 10-boat final tomorrow, and he is up on the split, just over a second up. So he just needs to hold it together through these final 3 gates, and they're not easy. He's
done that very well though, nicely into the upstream. We should see a new leader here, I'd say, Andy.
I would agree. Matej Benus looks like he's going to challenge that lead time of Franz Anton of Germany.
Big sprint.
It's going to be close, but certainly incredible run. It's going to be outside.
Oh, okay.
But 102.01, a clean run, and well, it just shows the technical demands of this course. It'll be interesting to see. We've still got big names to come, and whether that stands the test of time. So at the moment, Franz Anton leading for Germany, ahead of Matej Benus of Slovakia and Thomas Rak of the Czech Republic. That's the top three as we approach the halfway point in this World Championship semi-final. 30 boats racing for just 10 places in that final. That final takes place tomorrow morning Brazilian time, which is around about lunchtime, well, it's about 2 o'clock Central European time tomorrow. So you can join that through Planet Canoe. So next up for the Russian Federation, it's Kirill Setkin. So he was a World Championship semi-finalist last year, finished 20th in the World Championships in Po, and as you see there on the screen, a former junior world champion. So someone who can threaten fast times, but not particularly consistent.
Yeah, definitely someone there that we could see putting down a very, very good time here, but yeah, it doesn't happen as often as other paddlers, but yeah, we'll see what he can do here.
So the first of 6 red and white upstream gates on this 24-gate course. Cleanly through there, each of the gates judged by a gate judge, and that's instantly communicated back, and all of the gates judged by a video gate system, judging system, which really helps to make sure that the athletes get a fair competition. Now, that's a good top section.
Very nice top section. Having to take a spin on 10 there and a touch. As I've seen before, it's a very technical middle section, this.
Yeah, you can see that offset move 12, 13. He actually had to go around the bottom of 13. So you don't get penalised for that by missing it first time round, apart from on the clock.
Yeah.
But he did also take, so that's 3 touches, 6 seconds in penalties in just 3 gates.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to do, but hopefully there's another one as well.
So you can see what happens if you start to make a mistake, and if you can't keep your focus, then it's very easy for further mistakes to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you have 2 there, he's going to start trying to make that up, and see another one on gate 20 there.
So he misses gate 22.
22, sorry.
Now into upstream to gate 23, and unfortunately Kirill Setkin of the Russian Federation will not progress through into the World Championship final. So still Franz Anton leading for Germany, very much the form boat. Brought his season into play in the last couple of World Cups of the season and into the World Championship. So Franz Anton still leading, 100.73 his time.
I think we should see a couple of times in the semi-final under the 100 mark, but I'd say that was a very good benchmark to be going against for France. So,
well, next up is the 2013 under-23 European champion. That was one on big white water. That was on Bourg Saint-Maurice, from my memory, in France. It's Matej Marinic of Croatia. So 42nd in the World Championships last year, but again, he's very capable. If he finds the line, he's capable of getting into that 10-boat final. Yeah,
definitely. I think he's had a pretty good season so far. He's made every semi-final at the World Cups series, and he's definitely capable of making that 10-boat final. Making good work of the middle section there.
Yeah, he's certainly come out. You must want to almost breathe a sigh of relief as you come out of that sequence into the upstream 15 and 16. But there's no respite. You've just got to keep that focus.
No, I think keeping the focus is key. But I think once you're out of that middle section, you can breathe a bit more and settle into the bottom section of the run.
So alongside me, it's Jay Cochran of the Irish team. So unfortunately didn't progress through into this C1 men's semi-final, but giving us a really good athlete perspective, a bit of insight into the course and the competition. And myself, Andy Maddock, talking you through the action here in this World Championship C1 men's semi-final. And still to come, after the C1 men's semi-final, we will have the kayak women's semi-final. So lots to see as we get into the sharp end of racing here at the World Championships in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So into 6th place for Matej Marinic of Croatia.
Pretty good run there. I think he lost a bit of time on the bottom, but overall I think you'll be fairly happy with that.
And significantly, the top 7 places at the moment are clean runs.
Yeah, we saw that at the start, a lot of clean runs going down, but touches creeping in now and going to be very costly.
So on course for France, it's Pierre-Antoine Tillard. Now, he has made World Cup finals before, and certainly anyone in the French team is normally very good in this event. There's certainly their capabilities. Of course, still to come, we have the Olympic champion, Denis Gargaud-Canoe. We've already seen Cédric Joly going down the course, and looking good for Pierre-Antoine so far.
Yeah, up on the split, bit caught in the stopper there. He should be able to... shame about that, but we'll see what he can do here.
Yeah, and unfortunately you can see just that one little error, and then it's a bit like almost a car going into a corner. If you go in with the wrong line, then you pay a bigger price on the way out.
One small error can, as we've seen there, has led the couple, and suddenly you're not running the boat as well, and touches creep in. So we've seen that happen here, and a bit unfortunate for him. Probably someone that we would have potentially seen in the final. So.
Well, it's not all over. He is actually on a pretty good run here, and if he can keep his focus and get a quick time at the bottom, then he leaves himself with half a shout at a better position. This is the critical move. It's on his onside. He's nicely done there. He's going to be tight into the upstream, and yeah, he's done well there, because it really did challenge his concentration in that middle section.
Yeah, probably going to be a pretty fast draw time here. Just unfortunate about that middle section with a couple of touches there in the 9th place.
So the disappointment there for Pierre-Antoine Tillard of France. 6.82 down. In fact, another penalty added on to the upstream gate 15. So still, Franz Anton leading for Germany, ahead of Mate Benus of Slovakia and Thomas Rack. As we get into another multiple Olympian from Spain, it's Ander Elosegui, 3-time Olympian, fourth and 8th in that order at the what that be, the Beijing, the London and the Rio Olympics. And
yeah, hard position to take. I think those two fourths, but he didn't race the first half of the season, but he's back for the second half, and he paddled very well in in the qualifiers, and he seems to be on it here.
Well, 2.34, his advantage, and wow, that is a good move through 11 and 12. He is starting to take this course apart, and is he going to challenge that race lead of Franz Anton? Well, he's certainly through probably the most technically demanding section on the course.
Yeah, it's just the physicality of the course at the bottom, I think, is going to test a lot of paddlers, and we've seen it has done. I think Franz was very good at the bottom as well, so you see him up in the split here. I think if he can hold that at the bottom, we could be seeing a very good time here.
Well, it's going to be all down to this move 21-22 and getting tight into the upstream 23. He's quite late.
Oh, having to spin
That's
there,
plan
but
B.
Yeah, I think he's done pretty well executing that.
It almost looked like he planned that, actually, because he's certainly got in tight on 23 and got the exit. So let's see. He's going to be outside the time of Franz Anton, but it's a good run from Ander Elosegui of Spain and into 4th place. And you can see, well, it slipped away at the bottom. He was right on it on the top and the middle.
Yeah, very hard stopper that at the bottom. You just catch your nose ever so slightly off straight, and you're going to see that happen. Or he was able to deal with it okay. We've seen him go into 4th. So Luka Bozic next. A very good season so far. I believe he was 2nd in the overall World Cup ranking from the year. So another one we might probably expect to see in the final, and we'll see what he can do in this difficult course.
Yeah, hugely experienced paddler and hugely successful, mainly in the C2 event, and now really making his mark more as he focuses on the C1 event. But it won't be long now before we can start to confirm who is through into that World Championship final, because we're getting down to 12 boats still to go.
Fantastic top section there.
Wow, 3.15 advantage. It's all about now maintaining that advantage, keeping it clean.
That was lovely through that middle section. I think we're seeing here the form that he's taken through the whole season, and he's paddling very well here.
Certainly looks very composed as he just tickles the water on the way across from 15 to 16, but perfectly done there.
Wow.
He
Very
has found
fast,
the line.
top bit.
4.5 seconds, the advantage. Now, this is the move that he's got to deliver. He's picked up a 2-second penalty on the upstream. That was a scrappy little penalty, really.
Yeah, certainly you can absorb that with the time he's been in the top, but he's a bit low in this bottom upstream here. Perfect top half, bottom half run away from a bit, but I think we should be seeing a new race leader here.
Yeah, he's certainly going to attack that lead set by Franz Anton of Germany, and just inside there, but well, that has shown us the kind of time that is out there still.
Yeah, definitely. 97 raw time there. I didn't think we'd see that far beneath that 100-second mark, but kind of shows us what's capable of this course.
So well done, Luka Bozic of Slovenia into first place, and well, that's well placed to make it through into this World Championship final. Next up, another Slovenian paddler, Ondřej Berčić, and former medalist at under 23 level.
Bit low into upstream 3 there, but if he can just settle into this next bit of the course, then we should be okay.
Now the Slovenians 15 years ago were known for kayak events only, really, but very much a force in the C1 men's event.
Yeah, definitely coming along with the C1s, and they've got a fourth boat as well. It's very good. A bit down the first split here, but very smooth paddler, should be able to keep things tracking on the bottom half of the course.
Yeah, and of course they took the silver medal in the team event here at the World Championships. That took place on Tuesday, the team events. So 3 boats down the course, and well, the Slovakians took that team event title for the 8th consecutive time. Pretty impressive. Yeah,
very impressive. I think people have been trying to beat them for a long time, and they just seem to be unstoppable in that team event in the C1.
Well, Ondřej Berčić down at the split, 5.5 seconds, but if you remember, Luka Bozic was nearly that amount up on Franz Anton, so it could still be a good run here if he can deliver the bottom section.
Ooh, another plan B spin there. Hasn't quite paid off for him.
No, it does get tight into the upstream, so it is damage limitation, but that penalty on the downstream gate 22 will be costly, so the time to beat is Luka Bozic of Slovenia, 99.44, and into 9th place. So that means, well, the leaderboard at the moment with 10 to go is Luka Bozic of Slovenia leading, ahead of Franz Anton of Germany. Matej Benus of Slovakia is in 3rd. So next up on course, it is David Florence of Great Britain, 2-time world champion in 2013 and in 2015. But already a 2-second penalty early on.
Yeah, I think David's someone that he'll hopefully forget about that and stay on his plan, and we should see him putting down a fast run still, but taking a touch early on, I think that's going to affect you in the head a bit. But we'll see what we can do in this middle section coming up.
Well, he's a very experienced competitor, and this will test his concentration. So 3.1 down, but this will be interesting to see what he does through here and whether actually he switches. But another penalty there, signalled there on gate 12. And David Florence up against it as he comes into the upstream gate 15.
Another touch on 15 there. 3 touches. I think it's going to be very hard to make that up in the bottom part of the course. We'll see what he is in the second split here, but unfortunately I don't think we're going to be seeing David in the final.
No, I think that's too much of an ask for David Florence. Of course, he was an Olympic silver medalist in the C2 event here at the Rio Olympic Games, so familiar with this course, but it's not happened today. Good move there across from 22 to 23, but I think those 6 seconds in penalties will be too much for David Florence on this occasion. 2-time world champion, paddling to the finish, and it's a quick time. So it's under 100 seconds the time, but plus 6 seconds in penalties. So it is still Luka Bozic of Slovenia leading the way, and actually with David Florence now crossing the finish line, that puts Luka provisionally into the World Championship final. Franz Anton still in second, Matej Benus in third. So Gregor Hedvig of Poland now up next, coming through the top section. It's not an easy top section, is it, Jake? In terms of it's something you sometimes want a few gates just to get in the rhythm.
Yeah, it's a challenging start and move actually. The stopper on the way into gate 3 is actually a bit. It opens up a bit and kind of it won't hold you as well as other places. So it's difficult to keep that boat running into the upstream 3. But we've seen a decent top section here by Hedvig. See what he can do in this middle half of the course.
Yeah, we have 1.5 seconds down. Then that's a competitive time. So he takes on 13 forwards.
Maybe a bit sticky in 13 there. But yeah, as we saw there, he has been good in the top half, and certainly a bit of time to play with.
I would agree. I think this is one of those courses where you can take on the risk, but if it goes wrong, then there's no way back. Whereas there can be the route for a safe option. So 3.5 seconds down. That isn't as bad as it looks, because I think again this bottom section, if you can deliver it, then he could still be in the mix for a place in this World Championship final. But we know Franz Anton was really good on this bottom section for Germany, so currently lying in second place, and essentially the next boat looking to see if he's done enough to qualify. So Gregor Hedvig of Poland now coming to the finish line. It's going to be a good time, but it's into 7th place, and well, I'm not sure that's going to be enough for a place in the final, but it is enough for Franz Anton of Germany now to join Luka Božič in tomorrow's final. So Adam Burgess now of Great Britain up on course, 2015 under-23 world champion, and also really has started to find some form with some World Cup finals over the last couple of years.
Yeah, very good, very smooth paddler, and I've seen him take a touch in gate 2 there, but nicely into up left here. And we'll see what we can do in this middle section, but definitely something that I feel like he'll deliver well here.
Well, he's gaining confidence over the last couple of seasons, and actually it's a competitive time there. 2.3 down. He's got to deliver this middle section. He was a silver medalist at the European Championships earlier on in this season on Prague in Czech Republic, and just ducking and diving, weaving, but importantly not adding any more penalties to his total.
Nicely across the stopper and there into 16. It will be a bit down this second split, but yeah, that touch going to cost him a bit, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately now that margin 5.34 seconds. So Adam Burgess a lot to do on the bottom section to get into the final. Effectively, it's now Matej Benus on a time of 1:02.01, waiting to see if he is into that World Championship final. Well, Adam's in tight on 23, but it's a long sprint back to get to that finish. And it's Matej Benus will be our next confirmed qualifier through into the final. Adam Burgess into 11th place at 2 touches. I didn't see the touch on the upstream 23.
No, I didn't see that either. We'll probably look at that again. But here we go, another big name here, current world champion. See if he can do it again this year here.
Well, and hugely consistent at the World Championships, because he was a silver medalist in the 2 World Championships previous to when he took the title last year. So Benjamin Ševčík of Slovenia on course.
Yeah, he was brilliant last year in Pau. Won with a touch as well, which we actually, I think he's kind of known for that, being very fast, maybe taking a touch here and there, but can definitely absorb that. You should see here, I think we'd be up on the split just in touch there.
So very much in the mix here for the 2016 Olympian. He was 6th on this course at the Olympic Games in Rio. He takes the move on 12-13. to 14 forwards, and that's important. He's still clean as he comes into 15. This is a good run coming together.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a very good time here. He's certainly been good through the middle section, and this double up has been very good. So, yeah.
Well, we'll get an indication of how he compares to compatriot Luka Bozic, our race leader at the moment, and he's very much in touch, especially as we know that Bozic wasn't so great on the bottom section. So Benjamin Savcek, the reigning world champion from 2017, is looking like he will be into the World Championship final to defend that title tomorrow.
Here you go, and we're looking at a very quick time here. Big sprint to the finish, probably about a 7 second, 7-8 second sprint to the finish. But I think that, there we go, very good time.
Into the race lead, but importantly, into the final. Remember, those boats will race in reverse order in tomorrow's World Championship final. The top 10 from this 30-boat semi-final. Benjamin Savcek for Slovenia goes into the final in first place at the moment. Luka Bozic is in second, Franz Anton, Germany in third, and Matej Benos of Slovakia in fourth. There are 4 boats qualified, but 6 still to go, and they're the fastest 6 from the heats. And next up, well, always a fearsome competitor. It's Alexander Slavkovsky of Slovakia.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the favourites here for this World Championships. Just delivers every competition he's in, and been paddling very well this year again. So I think we're looking at someone who can probably take the win today, or tomorrow. Sorry. Bit down the split, but again, yeah, we're looking at a very quick time from Savcek there on that split.
Yeah, so Slavkovsky won the ICF Canoe Slalom World Cup title in 2018, so as you say, Jake, really consistent.
Yeah.
But actually his World Championship record in the individual event, not really representative of his true skills.
No, he's I don't know, he's had a very good always had a very good World Cup season, and yeah, the last couple of World Championships I don't think have been quite representative of that, but yeah, up on the split there, which is very impressive on Savcek's time, and see what he can do with this bottom move. There we go, that's the Slavkovsky paddling that you expect to see.
Outstanding there, really confident. He took on that move, but you know, he just left no doubt about it. He's really confident on that upstream blade.
Yeah, and I think big sprint to the finish here, but he certainly got the arms for it, and I think a new race leader here again. Well, just off, but
just outside,
qualified.
but importantly into the World Championship final. He knows it, acknowledges the crowd. Alexander Slavkovsky of Slovakia into second place. So still Benjamin Savcek leading, Luka Bozic in third. And that means Thomas Rak of the Czech Republic, who was first down in this semi-final, still waiting to see if he's done enough. As we watch the world #1 for Germany, Sidiris Tassiadis, who we would expect to be right on the pace here.
Yeah, he's looked very good all week in training, and yeah, as you say, current world #1 and very good World Cup season this year. So I think he's one of the favourites for this competition, and if he can deliver a good semi-final here to get into the final, he's definitely someone that you expect to deliver.
Well, comfortably through that top section. We'll get an indication as to how he stacks up. Well, in touch, 1.29 is very much in touch, and certainly the job today is about getting through into the final, so that is very much in touch with the final.
Yeah, I think people will be taking a bit less risk for this semi-final, especially the top paddlers. You don't need to push it too hard to make it into that final, and I think Tassiadis is one of them here, and he's certainly putting down a very good run so far.
Yeah, I suspect qualifying well in the heats has given them a lot more information before their run than some of the people say, like Thomas Rak, who had to go off first in this semi-final.
Yeah, I think they'll probably see, and their coaches might come up and tell them that middle section is causing people quite a bit of bother, and just to take a bit of time around there and don't rush things too much. Losing a bit of run of the boat through that last stopper, but certainly something he can absorb, and I think we're looking at a good time here.
Well, it looks like Sidiris Tassiadis of Germany is going to go into the final. Certainly a clean run And outside of the race leader, Benjamin Savcek of Slovenia, into 5th place, and importantly, into the final. He knows it, and I'm sure we will see some bigger risk-taking in the final tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Thomas Rock just holding on the edge there from considering the first boot down. There's someone we're going to see. Here we go, teammate of mine, Liam Jagu. Really rooting for him, hoping he can do his bit in this semi-final. Well, fortunate first touch there on gate 1.
Well, it's great to see him qualified. He qualified in 4th place in the heats with an outstanding run, and well, let's hope he can refocus and deliver in this semi-final, because there's certainly still places up for grabs, even if you've got a 2, if you can just keep it solid on the rest of the course.
Yeah, certainly, definitely time to absorb a touch in there, and I think he should still be a bit on touch here, but 4 seconds, which isn't too far off the pace if he can get this next section running nicely.
Well, coming through this tricky 8 downstream gates in the row from one side to the other, really testing the athletes' skills and reactivity to the circumstances as they come down. And now showing 2 touches, 4 seconds of penalties on his time. And Liam looks like it's slipping away from him a little bit here.
Yeah, getting away from him a bit here. I think he can get this bottom section together nicely, but I think 2 touches is going to be very costly. Yeah, but lost a bit of time now up left above there.
Well, already he's in a better position than he finished in the 2017 World Championships, and a name to watch for the future for sure, because certainly that outstanding heats performance really, and through the season we've seen quite a bit of that single run performances over the year.
Yeah, he's had a good second half of the season. He just struggled a bit today there with that semi-final run.
So into 21st place for Liam Jagu of Ireland, and it is still Benjamin Savcek leading ahead of Alexander Slavkovsky and Luka Bozic. What that does mean is that Thomas Rack, our first off in this semi-final for the Czech Republic, joins the others into the World Championship final. So next up, Ryan Wesley of Great Britain, the European champion of 2018.
Yeah, 3 spots left, and I think Ryan's certainly one of the favourites to take them. Had a good season as well, and he's just been paddling excellently this year.
So he was a bronze medalist at the World Championships in 2015. That was on his home water at Lee Valley on the Olympic course from London 2012. Now he's into the business end. So 1.5 down, but in touch with the place in the final.
Yeah, and he looks like he's dealt with that middle section very well.
A bit sticky through 12 to 13 there, but importantly, no penalties to add on the top 14 gates.
Nice across the back of the stopper there as well. Certainly someone I think he'll take on this bottom section quite well.
So he certainly looks like he's got a good fluid style. And 2.5 seconds down on race leader Benjamin Savcek, but very much in touch with a place in the final. And like we were saying, it'll be interesting to see how different people approach the final compared to the semi-final in terms of risk-taking.
Yeah, I think we will see a few more people going for a bit more. A little bit low into the bottom upstream there for Ryan, but he should be in touch here with the qualifying.
Well, he's got to be inside the time of 1:03.16 into 6th place, and well, you can see what that means to him. He knows he's into the World Championship final. You can almost see the deep breath.
Yeah,
that's what it means to these athletes. And well, here's the Olympic champion from Rio 2016 on this course, also a world champion from 2011. It's Denis Galgo-Canoe of France, and well, he'll be looking to produce something special. Certainly the important thing is getting into that top 10.
Very, very smooth paddler, Denny, and yeah, as we saw here in 2016, can definitely deliver under pressure, and I think he's someone we can see going into this final. It looks like he's going to be in touch with that first split.
Well, certainly in touch. 0.71 that's very much on the money, especially if you paddle like that.
Yeah, very nice through 11, 12 there, and keeping it together in 13. So yeah, we're looking at a good run here.
So it looks like Denis Gargaud-Canoe of France is going to be challenging for a place in that, not just the World Championship final, but I think a place in the top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Probably going to be a bit off the pace here in the second split, but yeah, definitely top three time there at the minute.
Well, showing his experience, showing his composure. Can't afford to give any much more away, but really, as long as he delivers this move through 22 to 23, which he does, more than
Very
delivers
nice.
it. There we are, exploring that for the final. What do you think?
Yeah, that looked like a final line, that. But I think that's somewhere there's definitely a lot to gain from taking that on a bit more. But yeah, should be qualified safely through here.
Well done to Denis Gargaud-Canoe, the Olympic champion for France. He is into the final, and we still have one to go. The fastest from the heats, the legend that is Michal Martican of Slovakia. So he won his first World Championship medal in 1995, probably before you were born,
yeah,
Jake.
the year I was born, yeah.
And he set the pace in the heats, but he too has
taken an early
picked
touch.
up an early penalty on the downstream gate 2. Well, if anyone can refocus and deliver something special when he's under pressure, then this person can. I mean, he's 4 world titles, 5 Olympic medals.
Everything.
There's nothing in this sport he hasn't won. Most things he's won on multiple occasions, and it's great to see him actually coming back to the kind of form he was in a few years ago, because he definitely had injury problems 3 or 4 years ago. We almost thought we'd seen the last of Michal
Yeah,
Martican.
definitely. And then winning the World Cup last year, I think, was a big moment for him in Markkleeberg in Germany. And I think since then he's kind of been back on form. And as we saw 2 days ago, very good with that qualification run.
Well, I think he's still in the mix here. I mean, he's clearly a little bit up against it, but you never rule this chap out. Michal Martican looking like he always looks
Still
effortless, doesn't he?
yeah.
But there's absolutely, he is giving it his
He's
all.
pulling very hard in the battle, and he makes it look like he's not doing much, but he's certainly working hard out there.
Well, it's essentially Michal Martican on course against Ander Elosegui of Spain for the final spot in that World Championship final. So the time he has to beat is 1:03.16 for a place in the final. He's going to do that, surely.
Yeah, I think he's going to do that. Certainly got the arms for this bottom sprint, but looks like we're seeing him we're seeing him in the final. So.
Wow, well done, Michal Martican of Slovakia into the final. That's great to see. 23 years on from his first medal at the World Championships, and still in the final. So provisional results here. Benjamin Sabček of Slovenia is our winner of the semi-final. He'll go off last in tomorrow's final. Alexander Slavkovsky, Luka Bozic, well, the Slovenians dominating there in the first and third. Then missing out, probably big names there missing out. David Florence, double world champion for Great Britain, not progressing through into the final tomorrow.
Yeah, very good semi-final. That I think it's teed up for a very good final to be watching on tomorrow morning. So very exciting semi-final there to watch.
Well, it wasn't. Thomas Rack, he'll be off leading the way in tomorrow's final. For the Czech Republic, first down today, and he'll be first down tomorrow.
Yeah, probably deliver again on first down. Did well today with that. So yeah, very good performance from Thomas.
Well, from myself, Andy Maddock, we'll obviously have the K1 Women's semi-final up next, so don't go away. But a big thank you to you, Jake
Yes,
Cochran,
thank you very much.
from Ireland, for your insight into this.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Very good. So don't go away, because we will be up very shortly with the K1 women's semi-final again. The top 30 boats from the heats will be racing it out for the 10-boat World Championship final, which gets underway tomorrow. Of course, the C1 men and the K1 women finals tomorrow will get underway at 8:50 a.m. Rio time, which is 1:50 p.m. Central European time. So you can join us to watch those ICF Canoe Slalom World Championship finals tomorrow. So we'll just watch some of the action from the C1 men before we turn our focus to the K1 women's event.
Muito bem, maravilha. Vamos que vamos tomar aquela aguinha e já voltamos aí, porque não vai faltar emoção também. As grandes atletas mundiais agora presentes na água aqui, e com certeza vai muita emoção para você, hein?
So we are ready to get underway with the K1 women's semi-finals here at the World Championships. We're in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Myself, Andy Muddock, in the commentary box, and I am joined by two co-commentators. I have Jane Nicholas of New Zealand, and I have Martina Wegman of the Netherlands. So thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box, and it'd be great to get some insight as we go through into this semi-final.
Sweet, sounds good.
Well, we're underway with racing. We've got 30 boats. They're the top 30 boats from yesterday's, no, it was Wednesday's heats, and they're racing in reverse order of Wednesday's heats. So in theory, the times will start to fall as we get through the order, but I think there's certainly a few names early on that we might see set some times. And certainly first off, it is Aja Novak of Slovenia. The opportunity to set a time now. We've just seen the men's C1 set a time of around about 97 seconds, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of time do you think it will take to win this semi-final run. Martina, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it's hard to tell. I just actually got here at the course, and I haven't had a very good look of it yet. But looking at the C1 men's time, I think the girls are probably looking at 103 maybe.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's well, I guess we'll find that out over the course of the next hour or so as we come into our first paddler on the bottom section. So really an opportunity to set a time for others to chase. So
unfortunately, she's picked up a couple of touches throughout her run, so she's been trying to make that time back up at the bottom, but as you've seen the C1 men, the bottom section's pretty tricky, and unfortunately looks like she's lost some more time there, so she'll have to keep pushing to the bottom, but not sure if that's going to be enough for today.
yeah, unfortunately there's 3 touches now, another touch being added on to the downstream gate 22, and I think that's probably a bit too much to ask, but into the lead at the moment, Aja Novak of Slovenia. And well, we've seen on this course, penalties are going to be significant. They were in the C1 men's. We know they will be going forward. So next up for the Ukraine, it's Victoria Us, already showing a 2-second penalty, but very capable of getting here. And she should be familiar with the course. She was 12th at the Rio Olympic Games. And do you think there's an advantage to the people that spent a lot of time here in the run into the Rio Games?
Yeah, I think definitely there's an advantage. I mean, not only racing here before, but also they had build-up training camps and test events and just spent a lot more time here in general. And slalom, you can see throughout the results and the range of races that there's a home course advantage on a lot of courses. So I think this is one of those places, if you know the water better, it helps. But You never know whose race it's going to be on the day in the sport.
Yeah, and I sometimes refer to this sport as it's a cruel sport because you know, you can be the best in the world, but it doesn't respect reputations. But equally, that's what's exciting about the sport.
Yeah, it's super dynamic, and you saw even on Wednesday when at the qualifiers where Ricarda made a really big mistake at the bottom. I never have seen her making any mistakes, so I was super surprised. But that's really the sport. It can happen to the top peddlers even as well. Like one little mistake, and you can be dropping down so much in time.
Well, Victoria Urs coming down. She's out of the last upstream gate of this 24-gate course. Again, 3 touches, and that will be significant in the overall reckoning into first place. So she is ahead of Aja Novak of Slovenia, but I think probably too much to ask at the moment for a place in the World Championship final. So next up for Slovakia, Michaela Hasova. So young up-and-coming paddler, world champion in junior ranks in 2015.
The Slovenian girls really have stepped up their game this year. There's a lot of young paddlers who are doing really well at the moment.
She was 13th at the under-23 Worlds, so very much capable of getting the fast times in, and certainly no stranger to this kind of pressure in the semi-final. So Victoria Urs, her split time there. Well, Hasova of Slovakia outside of the split time at the moment, but very much in touch.
No touches yet.
That's going to be key, isn't it? Is if you can deliver it clean, then actually you can afford to not take so many risks.
Yeah, you spend your whole run trying to make up small portions of time, and then to touch a gate really can knock you back a bit. So if the girls can stay clean, I think that'll make a huge difference.
Well, that's well negotiated there as she comes into the upstream gate 15, this double upstream gate sequence, and unfortunately having navigated the tricky downstreams cleanly, then she has picked up the 2-second penalty.
There's a lot of time to be lost in this bottom section if you're hitting all those waves and not getting the clean lines.
So 1:20.50 is the current lead time. 30 boats in this ICF Canoe Slalom World Championship semi-final here in Rio de Janeiro. And so a lot of top boats still to come. Into second place for Michaela Hasova of Slovakia. So Victoria Urs still our early leader for the Ukraine. And well, will we get a bit of a fast time here? Because the first of our French competitors, Lucie Baudou, very much capable of putting a fast time in, racing in the C1 event as well as the kayak event. And also we've got the extreme slalom event to come on Sunday afternoon here in Rio. And well, tell us a bit more about that, Martina, because you qualified first in the through the time trials section of that.
Yeah, we had the time trials yesterday. It's a pretty cool course. The time trial goes from top to bottom, but the actual slalom cross, we're gonna have some gates in the course. We're gonna have to get around, and it's probably gonna be fighting a little bit with the other paddlers because we're gonna start 4 at the same time. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to race there.
Well, we'll look forward to watching you in action in the Extreme Slalom finals, and they'll be brought to you live, so you can follow that. That's Sunday afternoon, Brazilian time. And, well, Lucie Baudou has picked up penalties. 2 touches, touch on 16, touch on 18.
She was up on the split, which we've been carrying those touches. Oh, she's just, I don't think she navigated through that gate.
She's gonna go back for it.
Try go back for it.
Yeah, so it's very hard to get back for 22. You can see it's just placed above the wave, and unfortunately for Lucie, there's no way back there. And it'll be Victoria Urs holding on to the lead early on in this women's kayak. World Championship semi-final.
So far, we haven't seen any clean runs yet, so I think it's definitely going to be key to keep your run clean to get a good time.
Yeah, and how much do you think the top boats from the heats will be watching these early runners to make some final decisions on what they do?
Yeah, I think you spend as much time looking at the course as you can, and if you're looking down the side of the river, you'll always see the girls in their gear, watching the paddlers go through. You try to learn a bit from the C1 men, but obviously the closer to your own paddling style, the better to watch in terms of you making your own plan.
Well, next up on course for Australia, it's Kate Eckhart, and well, she was up on the split, but that mistake on gate 10 has cancelled that out, but that's it's not all over by any means. She can really keep that focus, put the mistake behind her. She can get right into the lead. She was 7th at the Under-23 World Championships in 2018. But another penalty on the upstream gate 15. That's caused quite a lot of penalties in this semi-final. I think if you're you're taking the risky line, but you're a little bit late dropping over, then the bows flick up underneath the pole.
Yeah, I think most of those touches were with the kayak, so I think it's really important there to keep your boat flat and make a decision to either come high or low in the gate, so you avoid touching it.
Well, Kate fighting hard there. She missed gate 22, and wow, she did everything to get back for it, but it's not going to be. And that bottom section claims another victim.
Yeah, it's pretty tough when you come down there and you've worked hard the whole way down the course and you're trying to hold it all together, but it's actually got the biggest water, so the mistake rate's quite high.
So disappointment there for Kate Eckhart of Australia. Victoria Us still our early leader, ahead of Michaela Hasova of Slovakia and Adja Novak of Slovenia. Now it's on course Camille Prigent of France, and well, she's the Under-23 World Champion of 2018, and well, she's put some strong performances across the season. So will she be able to repeat that in this World Championship semi-final? Still quite new to her, the experience of being in the senior team. And well, what are your experiences? She's dropped low a little bit in 10. She can make that up. What are your experiences your first year on the senior circuit? How is that daunting, or do you see it as an opportunity?
I think for the French team, it's so hard to make the team already that they straight away got a little bit of confidence when they actually make the team, because they already have been fighting so much within their own country, and they really have proven their skills to actually get on the circuit, that they have a big sport crew behind them, and I think they just got a bit of confidence there from just even make it to the team and being allowed to race those races.
Well, she's 3.8 seconds up at the second split on this course, and looks like she's finding the rhythm. She's not the tightest into the upstream gate 20, but this is what's required, a clean run. This is the critical bit. I think that might have been a plan B spin, but, well, a good choice there, because she gets tight into the upstream gate 23.
I really like Camille's style of pedaling. She really puts a lot of power on her blades. And when you look at her, she never looks like she's super tight on the gate. Even in the upstream, she looks like she's running a bit wide, but she's always really fast going through it. So I really like her style.
Well, and she's rewarded there with first place. Camille Prigent of France goes into first place, 1:15.88. And, well, it's clean, and I think that could be in contention for a place in the final, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, she's laid down a clean run, which is a good start, and I think she navigated, despite the unplanned spin, that bottom section the best so far. But yeah, every girl who's coming down is, just going to be the level up, so to see what happens.
So on course now for Germany, it is Lisa Fritsch. Lisa is well, she was 6th place at the World Championships in 2017, and already has opened up an advantage on the top section. That's quite a big advantage, but we know that you've got to keep it going all the way right to the final gates.
She's looking good. She's looking very focused. It's a good run so far for her.
Yeah, she's certainly through that 8 consecutive downstream gate sequence cleanly. A little bit low on 16. How consistent is this wave, this move from 15 to 16? Because it seems that the athletes, it's quite easy to drop low on the move.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a balance to be too much in that way for too far off the back. So there's actually not a too big of a margin there. So I think that's why we see either like mostly getting in too low, because you lose a lot more time being too much into the wave. Oh no!
So Lisa, it was a bit of a plan B there from 22 to 23. Well, she won't have picked up any penalties on that, but that will have cost her on the clock, and it was a very good run coming together up until that point. She's still clean. It's going to be outside the time of Camille Prigent, who interestingly has picked up a 2-second penalty added to her run, but into second place for Lisa Fritsch of Germany. In fact, into third place because a 2-second penalty now added on to her time. So it is still Camille Prigent of France, our race leader at the early stage. As next up, it is Yi Ren of the People's Republic of China, wearing bib number 36. Now, we haven't seen much of the People's Republic racing this season. I think the main focus has been on the Asian Games, which is almost bigger than the Olympic Games in Asia. So, what do you know about this paddler? She's clearly putting a good run together at the moment.
Yeah, I don't actually know her particularly well, though it looks like she had a decent semi-final and she's looking strong on the course so far today.
Well, it's certainly coming together here, going into the double upstream, gate 15 and gate 16.
I actually was in China last year and for a race with the slalom paddlers up there, and the Chinese paddlers, they're super fit. They train a lot on flat water, and they're super good in sprinting and so strong on the flat water. And they, of course, that helps as well by doing well on the white water.
Well, 2.33, she has extended the advantage at the moment, but we know it's all about delivering this final move, 22 to 23. Well, she's on plan B, and it's not to be, unfortunately. That's interesting. I think there'll be a lot of perhaps coaches giving some late information to the paddlers still to come about that move, even if it's just saying, don't disrespect it.
Yeah, I think saw a couple of girls, though it was plan B, they did that spin move. Camille and Lisa both did it, and maybe that might be a go for some of the girls later on.
I think you might be right there, Jane, in that sense. It's because you get really tight into the upstream, so yes, you might spin, but well, Yi Ren of the People's Republic of China, after such a promising run, it shows that the course bit back in the final couple of gates. Wow, this is an athlete who we would expect to set a quick time. It's a double world champion from Austria, Karina Kundler, better known as Connie on the circuit, and well, she had to get through the heats on her second run. That's why she's going off so early, but well, she had no problems on that second run, and already 4.16 seconds on the top section.
Yes, he's a very strong and fast paddler, and I'm sure that a lot of the other girls who get to race last will be watching how he's doing. It's definitely an indicator of what time it's going to be set to make the final, probably.
Well, she's picked up a 2-second penalty on gate 13. She was second in the overall ICF Canoe Slalom World Cup this season by just 1 point. So very much has had a good season up until now. The job now is getting into the top 10 to get into the final tomorrow, and she's certainly doing that. 6 seconds the advantage. Well, she's taking it on forwards. This bottom move, no problems there for Connie, and tight into the upstream gate. Surely this is going to not only be the new race leader, but this is going to be a place in the World Championship final. So Karina Kundler of Austria now sprinting to the finish. She has got that 2-second penalty, but in at 1:07.42, current lead of over 10 seconds. But I think importantly, I think that is going to be competitive in the overall rankings. Well, we've seen a double world champion now to the form boat of the season. It's Ricarda Funk of Germany, another paddler who had to go again in the heat, had to get through on the second runs. And, well, Ricarda always looks so graceful on the water. And
Wow.
do you think this is her kind of course?
I think any course is good for her. Her boat is just flying. Like if you see how much speed her boat gets, and sometimes it almost launches off in the air. It's a pretty incredible paddler to watch. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's a course for her, but I think regardless, she's gonna set some fast times here, and we'll have a good chance to be in that final and get on the podium as well.
She's another very strong paddler. She's had a huge background on flat water training and just really like endurance and fitness. So by the time she was paddling on the whitewater in a slalom boat, she had such a strong base that she's just come such a long way, and she's so strong.
Well, look at that. She is up by 3.8 seconds on Karina Kühnler of Austria. So Ricarda Funk of Germany, the world #1, bronze medalist in the World Championships last year, is looking like she is well placed now for a place in the final. That is very tidy, almost too tight into the upstream. She catches the tail on the exit, won't add any penalties, but it just costs a little bit of time as she now comes to the finish line. Ricarda Funk of Germany into the race lead, and that is 1:04.18. So the graphic not quite right there in terms of the overall lead over Karina Kühnler, but Ricarda Funk of Germany, well done. That surely is going to be challenging to beat in this semi-final. Top 10 out of the 30 boats will go through to tomorrow's ICF World Championship final in this K1 women's event. So next up, Klaudia Swalinska of Poland.
The junior world champion.
Under 23
European
European champion, and she's so a form boat, and the Polish team mainly based around the course in Krakow, in just over the mountains from the sort of Slovakian stronghold Liptovsky Mikuláš, but quite flat. Similar characteristic, very straight, very flat. The course. It'll be interesting to see whether that helps at all in this run.
Yeah, she's a little bit off the split at the top, but we've seen there's a huge amount of time in the bottom, so anything can still happen.
Well, we'll get an indication very shortly as to where she stacks up against Ricarda Funk, our race leader for Germany. It's going to be down, but actually that's a respectable margin because she could still get inside Karina Kühnler of Austria's time. This is the critical move. This is the one that's caused the problems. You've got to get through 22. And, well, she's going for the spin. Nice work there. Tight into the upstream. Then I guess the athletes have to decide whether they take that tight line around the wave or take the wide line.
Yeah, I think a bit of that comes from how they navigate the upstream. She was sort of tied in, tied out.
Well, into third place for Klaudia Swalinska, leading ahead of Karina Kühnler of Austria and Klaudia Swalinska of Poland. It's the top 10 will make it through into that World Championship final. That final takes place tomorrow morning, Rio time, which is 1:50 p.m. in Central European time. So that'll be brought live. So next up on the course is the second paddler from the People's Republic of China. It's Tong Li. So as she comes through gate 9, we'll get an indication. 2.9 seconds down on race leader Ricarda Funk. But again, looking very composed and importantly keeping it clean. So Martina, we've the weather conditions today much nicer for racing for the athletes. How do you think the excessive heat of of the qualification rounds affected the paddlers?
I think for most paddlers it really affects them. You can't keep up by drinking water. You just get dehydrated anyway, being out there all day. But yeah, I think it's different for every athlete. I personally prefer the heat over the weather today, but I think most paddlers, they prefer a bit of shade and some cooler temperatures.
Yeah, so we were in the mid 30s, I think it was 35-ish on Wednesday and yesterday, but thunderstorms overnight. Today it's in the mid-20s and forecast to be in the 20s for the rest of the weekend, as Tong Li of the People's Republic of China into 4th place. So a competitive run there, 2-second penalty picked up on the course there.
I had the morning off and went to the beach, and it was probably the one day in the past 2 weeks there wasn't a beach day, so didn't quite nail that. I think for the a lot of the girls are racing kayak and C1, and over the consecutive days that heat really starts to get to you.
And I can imagine in that kind of heat, then getting through in the first runs of the qualifications really helps, because it just means you can get away back to your hotel and get out of the heat.
Yeah, definitely. We've all got like ice buckets and pouring ice down ourselves, and a whole lot of iced water and kind of, energy drinks, trying to keep up the hydration, but it's a bit of a losing battle in the heat like that. So yeah, if sooner you can get out of it and rest, the better.
Well, up next, it's representing Italy, Stephanie Horn, who, she's had a good season this year. She was a medalist at the World Cup in Krakow this season. And, of course, she raced in the Rio Olympic Games. She was 8th in the 2016 Games, so she'll be very familiar with this course as she comes into the upstream gate 20. And she's very much in touch with the time there, 2.5 seconds down. Stephanie Horn looking for a place in this World Championship final, and great move through 22 to 23.
Steffi actually started the Slalom cross time trial yesterday as well, and she told me it was the first time she said even in a plastic boat.
Well, she did well. I think she qualified 3rd. So showing that she's got the raw pace as well as the technical skills there. Into 3rd place there for Stephanie Horn, 107.85. So, we're getting towards the halfway point in this World Championship semi-final. It's Ricarda Funk leading for Germany, ahead of Karina Kunle of Austria, and now Stephanie Horn of Italy, as we watch the first of our boats from the Czech Republic. It's Veronika Vojtova, and a young paddler, but you know that anyone who makes it into the Czech Republic team will be competitive.
Yeah, definitely. Martina and I lived in Prague together for a big part of the season, so we've seen her training a lot. And yeah, the Czechs, they put in a huge amount of work and it pays off. They have a really successful team, and yeah, she's another one of the strong Czech paddlers. And
actually, this downstream middle section should be really almost quite familiar for a Czech paddler, because Prague, the way to race there is almost left, right, left, right.
Yeah, they love that, the long, tight staggers and back and forth across the river, so it might feel like home for her.
It'd be interesting to see whether there's a pattern in that for the Czech Republic, but she's clean, a little bit of a sticky upstream there, but keeping it clean at this stage in the competition. Well, she's certainly focused, you can see, as she comes down towards the main drop here on this Rio Olympic course. So this course built for the Olympic Games drops about 4.5 meters over its length, and runs at around about 10 cubic meters of water per second. So it's a test of physical, mental and technical skills against the clock here, and Veronika Vojtova definitely doing a good exam test here as she looks for a place in the World Championship final. 104.18 is the time of Ricarda Funk to beat. It's going to be outside of that and into 4th place. So pretty much coming towards that halfway point in the semi-finals. And that time, I think, of Ricarda Funk is looking very good indeed.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that Ricardo will be in the finals. I think it's pretty good time set for the top 10.
I'd agree with that, Martina. And of course, we've still got Jessica Fox, the double world champion, and Mylan Charroux of Spain, who's the Olympic champion and really capable of making some time. But here, of course, is another Olympian from Rio 2016 representing France. It's Marie-Zélia Lafont. So she's capable on her day of delivering outstanding performance. We've seen her on the top of the podium at World Cup level, but probably not as consistent as she might like to be. But keeping it clean at this stage.
The French team had a good start of this race because the girls won the team race. But
yeah, she was 16th at the Rio Olympic Games, which I think was a big disappointment for her, given her form coming into that competition. So this is her opportunity to make up some time. So she's 5 seconds down, which on paper doesn't look so good, but if she can pull off this bottom section, then she could still challenge for a place in that top 3. Well, importantly, she's clean. A little bit sticky in that bottom section. This is where the lactic acid is burning those arms. I was saying with Jake earlier with the C1 men's, that finish sprint must seem like it goes on forever.
Yeah, well, actually, from training, I think they moved it up 8 meters or something from what they had it. It still feels like a long way.
Well, that's interesting to know. But so Marie-Zélia Lafont into 4th place for France. Clean run, 109.64. But still, it is Funk leading for Germany ahead of Kühnler of Austria and Horn of Italy. As next up, it's the first of our Japanese competitors, Aki Yazawa, another competitor from the Rio Olympic Games. So familiar with this course. She finished 20th in the games here in 2016. So a 2-second penalty picked up on the second of the 6 red and white upstream gates. It's interesting to see the different decisions, the different tactics people are using on this 8-gate downstream stagger sequence.
sometimes it's hard to tell if it's a plan B as well. I'm not sure if the deck ferry was originally intended or if it was a plan B because he wasn't in the place he wanted to be.
I know what you mean, but actually she did that well. She sort of reacted well and kept the show on the road, so to say.
Yeah, I think in those long staggers it's quite easy to start off well, but to maintain the room through the whole stagger to the end is the challenge the girls are facing.
Well, this is the crunch move now, and very nicely through there. Tight into the upstream 23. Can she get out tight? Yes. Must find a bit of time on this tight exit there. So Aki Yazawa of Japan. She does have that 2-second penalty early on, but a respectable run here. Into 7th place. So Funk of Germany still leads.
Elena had a really good qualification run. She was really fast in some of the split times on the scores.
It was great to see Elena Kaliszka, a legend of the sport, double Olympic champion, a world champion, back to her, yeah, like you say, to producing a form run. It'd be great to see if she can deliver that again in this semi-final. And wow, that would be an achievement, getting back into a World Championship final. She was world champion back in 2002, I think. No, that was Borg. It was in the early 2000s, so it's... No, 2005, that's right, Australia was her World Championship title. Then she won the Athens Olympic Games and the Beijing Olympic title. Hugely experienced, and perhaps, you know, she's showing that experience now. Clean on the top section. She probably knows she hasn't got the pace that she used to have, but she has got the experience and the decision-making skills.
Yeah, as you said, she is one of the legends in the sport, so it's pretty awesome to have her still racing and still being part of it. And to actually then be laying down pretty fast times is really cool to watch. And just shows the love and passion people have for the sport, I think, if you want to keep doing it for that long.
Yeah, she's 46 years old, and she probably would say she's got a few years left in her. We've only just seen Stepanka Hilkatova retiring after, continuing to be competitive into her, late 40s, might even be 50 when she retired. So Elena Kalishka into 7th place, and it's clean, but I'm not sure that that's going to be enough to make it into the final. But let's turn our attention to the top of the course here, because it's Ana Sachila of Brazil, the home favourite, and surely feeling the pressure of a nation here at these World Championships.
She's feeling really well on this course. You can tell she's been spending a lot of time up here, and I think she's very excited to race here again after the Olympics, and to see the venue being used and have all the people here again.
Yeah, so she was junior world champion in 2014, and she's actually been to 2 Olympic Games. So her debut was in London, and then, as you say, in the Rio Olympic Games, she didn't do as well as she might have hoped, and she won a bronze medal, Brazil's first ever World Championship medal in the C1 event last year in Po. So Anna certainly looking like she's putting together a tidy run here as I speak. Well, that's cost her a little bit, but it's not all over. She's very much still in the mix. Great line into the upstream gate 20.
You can hear the Brazilian crowd going up.
The Brazilian team really is a team. They run down, they make a lot of noise, very supportive of each other, and it's great to be back here in Rio de Janeiro 2 years after the Olympic Games on this fantastic venue. And Ana Sachila into 3rd place, and she knows it's a good run, but she also knows that there's that blemish, that 2-second penalty, and will that be significant in the end reckoning? So next up, the second of our competitors from the Czech Republic, Barbara Valikova, taking on the move, the upstream gate 3.
I believe it's her first year on the Czech senior team.
Yes, I think you're right, and it's interesting. We see there, Barbara was taking quite an adventurous line on the first upstream gate. How much do you think people will be paddling differently if they make it through in the final tomorrow? How much more risk will people be taking?
I think you're always, trying to give it 100%, no matter when you're racing. We're all obviously competitively spirited, but I think we like to hold a little bit in the tank for the finals. This course, though, as you can see, is things like the penalties and being careful on those and accurate on those lines at the bottom is where all the time's being cost. So I don't think the girls will be racing too dissimilarly. Just trying to put those solid runs together and stay clean is probably the goal.
Well, she's putting a good run here because she was 1.5 seconds down at the early split. That's grown a little bit to 4.7 seconds, but no penalties on the board at the moment, and still a chance of getting into this World Championship final. So we have 18 boats crossed the finish line already, so still 12 to go. And, well, there you go, she almost too tight. She does 22 into 23 too well, and that costs her a little bit of time on the clock. So Barbara Valikova of the Czech Republic coming into the sprint. She's into 9th place, so I don't think that will be enough for a place in the final, but a very good run nonetheless, and clean. Well, shall I let you, Jane, shall I let you introduce our next boat, or are you too nervous?
I'm too nervous.
Well, next up, it's the Olympic silver medalist from Rio 2016, Luca Jones, who also was 4th at the World Championships last year. And I know she loves this course for obvious reasons, and well, she'll want to get a good start on the top section.
Yeah, she's been looking really good in training. She's a strong peddler, and yeah, she actually was in the training hour with us, and she looked super strong on this course. I think it really suits her style. So interesting to see what her time is going to be.
Well, she's in touch at the top section, 0.85. If you can keep that margin all the way down, then almost certainly that would be good enough for a place in the final. And very composed, very good through that section. Are you starting to be able to breathe again, Jane?
Oh yeah, you know, I'm just holding my breath a little bit to the bottom, but yeah, it looks like she's on a good run so far. And often when you've got that feeling, you know, to keep carrying it throughout your run is really the goal.
Well, here she comes through into the upstream gate 20. Well, 2.29. That's very much in contention for the final place. But it is about delivering this bottom section. Good through there. Good use of the wave actually to kick across, and she's ahead of the game throughout that move. Very nicely done.
Very nicely done.
Takes the wide line. Her coach Campbell Walsh will have sort of helped her plan her every move as she comes towards the finish, and it's a very quick time coming together and into second place. And Luca Jones of New Zealand is well, there's a good chance she will be into the final, but she's going to have a long wait now. We are into the final 10 boats, so we will start to confirm who is going to qualify in. And next up for Great Britain, it is Kimberly Woods. So Kimberly Woods was a bronze medalist in this event at the Under-23 World Championships earlier on this year. And actually in this competition has already picked up a gold and a bronze medal in the team event. So gold in the C1 women's event, and bronze in the K1 women's team event.
Yeah, the British team had a great start to the race. First day of racing with the teams, and every paddler on their team here got at least one medal, so it was pretty awesome to see that. Strong team.
Well, it's now getting to the sharp end of racing for the British team, and Kimberly looks like she's had to go round the bottom of 13. Important to keep it clean now. There will be a bit of time trading hands, and into the upstream gate 15, and we'll just see there, it looks like, yes, a penalty confirmed on the upstream, this double upstream gate 15-16, and Kimberly just now slipping away from that lead time set by Ricarda Funk.
Just picked up another touch there. You can see the scoreboard at the moment, those girls sitting at the top, there's a lot of clean runs, and I think, you know, that's a key way to save and make time on this course.
There's another penalty there on this bottom section, and I think what might be bad news for Kimberly Woods of England, because Kimberly, as she comes down towards the finish line, is going to finish outside Luca Jones's time, and therefore, at the moment, Ricarda Funk and Luca Jones are provisionally into the World Championship final tomorrow. But we still have 8 boats to go. So 12th place for Kimberly Woods of Great Britain. That's next up on course. It's Victoria Wolfhardt of Austria. She was 12th in the World Championships in 2017. It's under-23 European champion in 2016 and 2017. So very much a competitive, fast boat, but it's all about delivery now.
Vicky had a pretty good season this year, and both in K1 and C1. She's also a really strong C1 peddler.
Well, she was up at the early split. I suspect she might have just shed a bit of that. Not quite as tidy as our race leader, Ricarda Funk, through that middle section. And a penalty coming on to the upstream gate 13. Upstream, I mean downstream. So Victoria Wolfhardt, certainly a accustomed to this kind of pressure. Semi-final performance. It's about delivering it single run to get through into the World Championship final. So tomorrow's World Championship finals in the C1 men and the K1 women's category will get underway at 8:50 a.m. Brazilian time, which is around about 1:50 in the afternoon in Central European time. Well, she's having to work hard on the bottom section, but that persistence pays off.
Yeah, she's got there through the end. In the end, I mean, she's got that finish sprint still to go, and you just watch the clock kind of tick over as they head towards the finish line. And unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be enough for Vicky.
No, it's going to be outside of the top 10 on this occasion, into 11th place for Victoria Wolfhardt of Austria. And that does mean that I just have to wait and see how many boats still to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 still to finish. So it is still Ricarda Funk and Luca Jones qualified. And it's Karina Kühnle of Austria waiting to see whether our current paddler on course, Natalia Pasiepnik of Poland, can beat her time, which is 107.42 total. So already Natalia has a 2-second penalty. And another one picked up on the downstream gate 8. So this course proving quite a technical challenge. The course designers, Mark Delaney and Marianne Aguilon,
They did a great job using a lot of the features in the course. There's a lot of features actually to be used, but they really used them well, that it flows with the water. And it's pretty cool. They set a hard move in the bottom that even though you're tired, you really have to perform that technical move at the bottom as well.
And how physical is this course?
It's quite a long course, and there's a lot of stoppers, a lot of futures, and the stoppers just to keep the speed and keep the boat running. It costs a lot of power, so it's a pretty physical course, I would say.
Yeah, we could just see just how much effort it takes at the bottom section to just keep the boat online. So Natalia Pasiepnik of Poland coming into the final sprint, and the time has slipped away. Those penalties not helping, but just into 12th place and outside of the final. So that means that Karina Kühnle of Austria will be joining Luca Jones and Ricarda Funk in the World Championship final. That's up next for Great Britain. It is Fiona Penny. So Fiona Penny, a two-time World Championship silver medalist in this event, and she was in the Rio Olympic Games and finished 6th in that event. So certainly is no stranger to spending a lot of time on this whitewater course.
She's off to a really strong start on this run so far. And as you can see there, she's up on the split from Ricky, and Ricky laid down a really fast time. So it bodes pretty well for Fee if she can hold it together.
Well, this move 12-13 has caused a few problems, but no problem there for Fiona as she comes into the upstream gate 14. Wraps her body round on the upstream gate 15. And Fiona Penny of Great Britain, well, we'll get an indication as to whether she's managed to hold on to the advantage over the current race leader.
Little touch there.
She's just picked up a touch there, but...
So yes, 1.54 up, but cancelled out by that touch on 17. So this bottom section is critical. She's got to keep it clean and can't afford any more time loss. Wow, it's great work. She's digging deep in there. But Fiona Penny of Great Britain is now just one gate away from a place in the World Championship final. Effectively, it's her against Anna Sotila, the local favourite, for that next place and into 3rd place and into the final. So Fiona Penny into the final. That includes a 2-second penalty. She goes ahead of Karina Kunle of Austria. So it is still Ana Sachila of Brazil in poised to see if she's done enough, but not yet confirmed. Next up, it is Katarina Kudayova of the Czech Republic. So the final Czech Republic paddler, the world champion from 2015. And we've not really seen the kind of form that she was producing around 2015 from Katarina. Is there a story behind that? Is she injured?
She had a little ankle injury this year, but I don't think that really disadvantages her too much. She's a pretty solid paddler, and she hasn't had a podium place, I think, this year, but she's made a lot of finals and is really on form. So hopefully we're gonna see her this weekend doing well and maybe get on the podium.
Well, it'd be good to see her back in the picture, because like you say, you can never count her out. She's always fast when she finds the lines. She was down on the early split, but she has kept it clean through the top half of this course. So it's going to be down on the race leader Ricarda Funk, but 3 seconds down. Well, that's still very much in contention for a place in the final. And we still have 5 boats to go after Katarina finishes, but here it's plan B. Wow, showing her experience there.
I think she still lost a little bit of time there, but it's going to be tight.
So the time to beat is at the moment Ana Shatila 107.52 to automatically go into the women's kayak final, and she is outside of that and only into 8th place. So that could be costly, that mistake at the bottom section. Ana Shatila now joins the others into the final. Brazil will have a World Championship finalist. Next up, for Great Britain, it is Mallory Franklin. Mallory Franklin, who's had a good season in not only in the C1, where she's really made her name, but in the kayak too. And certainly the last World Cup, she was on the podium in both events.
Yeah, she's had a really strong season, and you can just watch her navigating the top of this course. She's very confident, focused, and paddling some really nice lines. And as you see reflected in that split, sharp on the split from Ricarda Funk. Looks like she's on a good run so far.
Well, her coach Craig Morris will be watching every move as she comes down this course. And yeah, up on our race leader Ricarda Funk, and effectively looking for a place in the final, and it's between her and Stephanie Horn of Italy. Well, she does well. She caught an edge there and very nearly saw the bottom of the river. So how much upstream edge do you have to give on that move across from 15 to 16?
Well, like most things in slalom, everything's a bit of a fine balance. So you need a bit, but not too much, as you know, end up how Mallory was just there. And
well, she's kept her composure. She's spinning on 22 to 23, but she's keeping it together, I think, at the moment now, as she heads towards the finish. It's not the tidiest of run for Mallory Franklin, but the job is to get into the World Championship final. Mallory Franklin paddling for the finish into 7th place.
On the bubble.
And will be right on the bubble. So at the moment, 6 boats in, and that's Funk of Germany, Jones of New Zealand, Penny of Great Britain, Kunle of Austria, Satila of Brazil, and Horn of Italy. And Mallory Franklin in 7th, waiting to see. 3 boats to go in this, the Women's Kayak World Championship semi-final. And next up, sorry, it's 4 boats to go. And next up, it is Jasmin Schomburg of Germany. Now, Jasmin was world champion in 2009. Very experienced competitor for Germany. And, well, she'll need that experience, I think, in this course, just to get the pacing right. Would you agree with that?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, as Martina said earlier, it's a long course, and there's a lot of gates, and you've just got to keep that accuracy. And I think, you know, the experience of putting that all down in a whole run and holding it together the whole way to the bottom will show for this, knowing that that bottom section is where a lot of time's being lost.
Well, she's showing that experience now because she's got a clean sheet at the moment, and she's very tidy through there as she approaches the main drop on this Rio Olympic course from 2016. Very tight in and out. Now, this is the critical move. This is where Mallory Franklin lost some time on the bottom section, but very smooth, very tidy for Schornberg of Germany.
Yeah, she's done a very nice job of that. Bit far out of the last up, but looks like her time is going to be in contention.
So Germany lead with Ricarda Funk. It's going to be outside of that time and into 4th place and into the final. And doesn't she know it there? She'll know where she has to finish. Jasmine Schornberg joins compatriot Ricarda Funk in the final. So 3 boats still to go. Still Mallory Franklin of Great Britain sitting on the bubble, waiting to see if she has done enough. As Ursa Kragel of Slovenia is our next competitor, 3rd in the heats. So remember, they're in reverse order of the heats performance, and some big names still to come. Milan Shuro, the Olympic champion. Jessica Fox, the world champion. And Ursa, well, forced out high out of the upstream 6. She did well to stay off the pole there on 6.
Yeah, it looks like she kind of went into contact with the wall, which doesn't mean you can put your boat where you want it, but she pulled it off okay.
Well, that upstream, the eddy on gate 6, it looks horrible. Is it as horrible as it looks, or is it actually quite helpful?
There's one nice part of it, so if you're in the good bit, all things going well. But yeah.
Well, Ursa Kragel has navigated the offset sequence through the downstreams successfully and cleanly. We'll get an indication of where she sits in the splits. Also a regular finalist at World Cup and World Championship level. She's in touch. 0.84 down on our race leader, so very much in touch with a place in the final. Good mature approach there with a spin on the move. And surely this is going to be good enough for a place in the final.
Yeah, I think she'll be pushing it in there.
I think this is going to get into the top 3 and into 2nd place. And the relief, Ursa Kragel of Slovenia into 2nd place and into the final. Remember those finals tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock in the morning Brazilian time, around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Central European time. So next up, it is the Olympic champion from Rio 2016, Milan Shuro of Spain. And, well, she blitzed the field in her performance at the Rio Olympic Games in this K1 women's event. And, well, the job now will be to get through into the final, and that's when the big risks will be taken. But, wow, good recovery there. We were talking about that upstream gate 6 there, Jane, and does well to recover from that and avoid a penalty.
Yeah, she was in a similar position against the wall, which is actually where the fast water is, but I think the nature of the water compared to the gate placement's what's causing a bit of trouble for these girls in that up.
Well, she's navigated successfully so far down this course. Now into the double upstream, gate 15 and 16. Looking very fluid indeed as she comes into the upstream gate 16. She's going to be down on the split time of Ricarda Funk. Quite a bit down, actually. That's deceptive, actually. Just some time traded hands, so can't afford to give anything else away on this bottom section. Oh, and she's gone wide. She's
I think she missed it.
She has. And I don't think there's a way back. So, wow, the Olympic champion, the popular paddler from Spain, Milan Shuro, will not be in the World Championship final, unfortunately. But her misfortune is Mallory Franklin's opportunity, because Mallory Franklin now into the World Championship final, and you can see the disappointment on Ellen's face. Well, one boat to go here in the World Championship K1 Women's semi-final. It's the fastest boat from the heats. It's Jessica Fox of Australia, who is the two-time world champion. She's the World Cup champion in 2018, two-time Olympic medalist in this event, and really, she's been so dominant in this 2018 season.
Yeah, there's not many races she hasn't won. I think she's very hungry to win this one as well and get their World Championship title. But then she's on fire this season for sure.
Well, my understanding is that if she takes a world title here in Rio, she will become the most successful female paddler in slalom history at World Championship level. And probably more importantly, internally in the family, she'll have won more medals than her mum or dad.
I think it's well deserved. She's an incredible athlete, paddling super well, and she's an amazing person as well. Super friendly and actually humble as well. It's well deserved to get that title.
Well, she's down on the splits, but importantly, she is in the mix for the final. 2.6 the deficit, and as long as she can deliver this bottom section, she'll get through into the final. And well, that looks good.
Yeah, she's definitely still in touch with the final, and she's got this final sprint to go, and I think her time's going to be good enough to make it in.
Well, Jessica Fox of Australia paddling for a place in the final, and into 6th place and into the final. The relief on her face. She knows that probably she's left a bit of time out there on the course, but that doesn't matter. They all start from 0 tomorrow in the World Championship final. So provisionally, that gives, Ricarda Funk is the winner of the semi-final. She'll go off last in tomorrow's women's kayak final. And here we are, the provisional classification. Ricarda Funk of Germany ahead of Ursa Kragel of Slovenia. Luca Jones of New Zealand, another strong World Championship performance there in 3rd. And then Fiona Penny, Mallory Franklin of Great Britain. Great to see Ana Satila of Brazil on her home course in that final. And then missing out, the 2015 World Champion, Katerina Kudayova. And then, of course, the Olympic champion from Spain, Ellen Giroux, not able to find that form. She's normally so consistent on when she performs. She doesn't race as often as some, but when she races, she's normally so consistent. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree, and it's a big disappointment that we can't see her in the finals tomorrow.
It is indeed. So that concludes the action today. But of course, the World Championships carries on into the weekend, and in particular, we've got the tomorrow morning. We've got the C1 men and the K1 women's finals. That takes place at we get underway at 8:50 a.m. in Brazilian time, which is 1:50 p.m. Central European time. You can join us then for the live final, and then once that's completed in the afternoon Brazilian time, we'll be underway with the C1 women's event and the K1 men's. It's their semi-finals. Then, of course, Sunday, we see the finals of the C1 women and the K1 men, and then the extreme slalom finals in the afternoon. So lots to look forward to. So a big thank you to Jane Nicholas and to Martina Wegman for joining me in the commentary box over the course of this women's kayak semi-final. Exciting racing we've seen, and I suspect more excitement to come in the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for having us.